Well, hello, my friends. The electric went off again yesterday. I should have checked that. I didn't even think about it. I need to go back in and set that IP as a static again, but I don't think it makes any difference whenever the electric goes off. I think it changes anyway. It's a mess, I tell you. Whatever. Uh, Hello, my name's Jerry Rosa. I'm in the Rosa Stringworks Man Cave. I've got the world's finest mandolin ever built by a human right here. Well, at least that's what it said on the video. Those of you who know the story know the story. Those of you who are new, you may have not ever heard the story, but there is a video out there showing how I built this mandolin, and I called it the world's finest mandolin ever built by a human. And the only reason I added by a human is because most of them are built by machines these days, or at least the biggest part of every instrument is built by a machine. This one was built totally by hand. You can see I did a lot of extra little carvings and different little things in it that you don't see in the other ones. Got my rose carved in the back and all that. Never did take it back apart and put the final finishes on it. I was looking through my archive of songs and I found this one. And I have never, and I promise you, never, not ever, not one single time, ever played this song for anybody. I know that for sure. So you are the first ones to hear it. Now, let me back up and just tell you there's a good reason for that. If they're any good, I usually play them out. But I don't know. I'm just going to do it just because. I figured you really can't throw a tomato at me from across the internet anyway. So this song, it was just came from a saying that people would say all the time at work. Well, I don't know, but I've been told if you do it this way, I don't know, but I've been told, it was always that kind of a line. And anyway, we just had some people that said that all the time where I worked. So I got tired of hearing that, and I wrote this song. So we'll see if I can do it. I have never done this, and I literally didn't remember the melody or anything till about, seriously, 10 minutes ago. And so that's when I started working on this. So let's see how it goes. Well, I don't know, but I've been told they say he went away. He sailed across the 7 seas right into harm's way. Well, I don't know, but I've been told he left her standing there with tear-filled eyes and a yellow dress and a ribbon in her hair. Well, I don't know, but I've been told she begged him not to go. He said it was his duty not to worry so. Well, I don't know, but I've been told the letters came each day. He told her that he loved her and that he'd be back someday. I guess it would help if I had the microphone closed, wouldn't it? I'm such an idiot. Well, I don't know, but I've been told he was quite a man. He led the charge right up the hill, but never down again. Well, I don't know that I've been told that on the beach night air, she waits for him in a yellow dress with a ribbon in her hair. Yeah. I might as well just go back to bed. I've been up since 3. That's my excuse. Oh, I'm an idiot. I'm a total idiot. Why do I do this at all? I can't do nothing right anymore. It's pitiful. It's just pitiful. Now you see why I quit working on instruments. Did you notice, though, that I did get the aspect ratio fixed yesterday? Actually, I forgot to mention it yesterday, but it was fixed on yesterday's vlog also. And again, it was just like I said, it's not intuitive at all. So I had to switch it over to what they call a custom mode. It's an option, and then once I switched it over to there, I could change the aspect ratio. But what you don't realize is that when you go into the main settings, the aspect ratio was already correct. I mean, it was already at the numbers that I wanted. So I'm going, why isn't it at those numbers? If it's at the numbers, it's got some stupid behind the scenes thing that locks it into some weird setting whenever things change. In other words, it defaults to this weird setting, not to what you have it set at. It's just stupid. It's really stupid. If you go into the main general settings and you set your default there, that's what it should default to. But it doesn't. It defaults back to something else, even though it says it's still on there. If you go to the screen, it says that's what you have. I can't explain how stupid it is to design stuff like that. It's pretty bad. It's pretty bad. And that's why I couldn't figure it out. I kept going, well, dang it, it says it's right, Well, anyway, once I finally figured out to put it in this customized mode, and then it would let me change those numbers in a different place, which doesn't even make any sense at all. Just doesn't make sense. But anyway, I did it, and it works. And now I know how to do it. If it happens again, I should remember it this time. I'm sorry to be such a screw up. I apologize. We had a big storm yesterday. And Zappa, you're going to have to do better, because you said it was going to storm at like 11 o'clock, and it was like 10:45. So, get it right. If you're gonna talk about this stuff, get it right, buddy. No, it did. It started raining around 10:45. Then it kind of quit for a while. Then around 4 o'clock, maybe it was 3:45, I don't know, but it came a big storm then, and wind was blowing, and hail, and all kinds of mess. It was just a big torrential downpour from about 4 till about 4:30-ish, somewhere in that time frame. Then it wasn't too bad after that. Here's a little, if I did this right, here's a little video for you. Well, we're out here this morning bright and early, and you can see how the leaves have washed up right here. That means that this, came down through here, and you can see that the leaves and things have clogged up the pipe. So I've got to get down in there and clean that out. I'll show you what it looks like here in just a minute after I get a shovel to it. Well, it wasn't too terribly bad. It was mostly just leaves this time that clogged it up, and it drained instantly as soon as I pulled the leaves off the front of that. But I think somebody's right. I think I'm going to get some of that large, say 3 to 4 inch size rock, and lay it down this whole trench and make kind of a swale with that rock. I think that'll solve a lot of my problems. It's not going to fix the leaves, but the leaves are fairly easy to deal with. I don't really care too much about the leaves. It's these big rocks and all this sand and mud and gravel that slide down. So, yeah, I think that's what I'm going to have to do. Yeah, well, in fact, I've already talked to Sue. She's usually the one that calls the gravel guy to bring gravel and rock and stuff. And so I said, why don't you call the guy, tell him to bring some riprap type rock to line this, drainage ditch. Tell them we want 3 to 5 inch type rock, and we'll see how it goes. I don't know what else to do. It needs something, that's for sure. It's just like the insanity thing. You keep doing the same thing, expecting a different result. Well, I put in a new pipe, and I don't want to get it filled up with all that other crud, so might as well try something. And I guess if we put that big rock in there, that'll probably help. I really think that is probably the best suggestion. That was a suggestion from one of you guys, so thank you. Anyway, Itchy Boots. And I saw, what was it? Well, doggone it, there's something over the screen that's it just doesn't quit. Why things do what they do. Okay, it was right over the name I wanted to see. I don't know why it was there. It was some little symbol on the screen covering up the name. There was a comment about Itchy Boots in the comments from Don Matthews. Now I can see his name. I tell you, it's just the odds of these things happening. Why don't I win the lottery like 20 times a week? I should win with the odds of the things that happen to me. It's just the dumbest thing. And why I can't win the lottery, I don't know. Mostly because I don't play it, but that's beside the point. Anyway, Don Matthews said, did you see her shake, rattle, and roll up the mountain, on her, now she's back in Africa? And I was thinking I was going to talk about this anyway, because first of all, there's a couple things. Number one, you notice how big her motorcycle is. That motorcycle she rides normally is quite a bit bigger than the one she had on Madagascar. And, you're trying to control that over this rough ground. There's no wonder she falls all the time. But I'm surprised she was going as fast as she was on that really rocky, eroded mud road, But the thing I wanted to call your attention to, did anybody notice that when she started, I guess she went through these, I hesitate calling it a village. She went through these houses and then it looked like she kind of veered left and started going up this mountain road, Did you notice the street sign or the big highway sign that was there on the left? It was a highway sign just like you'd find on our big highways out here. Highway 44 or any, interstate highway would have one of these great big green signs that say, next town, Rolla, Missouri, 44 miles or whatever. Well, it had one of those signs at the base of that road. And I'm going, are you kidding me? This is a mud road with rocks and erosion ditches. And it's not even hardly a car width wide. It's a cow path. And it had one of those big highway signs right next to it. They're pointing, it says so-and-so town, 103 kilometers or whatever it was. I'm going, are you kidding me? It's obvious that those are their roads. It's just amazing to me how, oh my gosh, what we take for granted. It's amazing what these people are living with. I think it's terrible that I'm still on a gravel county road here. I'm thinking that should be blacktop by now. It's like a luxury road compared to the roads that they're driving. Oh my gosh. Just count your blessings is all I can say. I made something yesterday. I made this. This just doesn't show you very much about it. There will be a video coming out showing you the whole thing here and how I made it and all that. But here's a little tidbit. Well, we're looking at the back of the barbecue grill. I have not attempted it yet. I do not know if this is going to go in there. It might not. We'll just have to see because I truly don't know. Aha. Perfect. Golly, if it was any better, I'd have to pay entertainment tax. But like my wife said, I need a handle. It fits too perfect. I can't get it out. I had a feeling I could reach in there and get it, but I can't. So let me get my knife out. One of my wonderful viewers sent me this knife. Watch how wonderful it is here. See, I can do this with holding the camera and reaching in there and popping it right out. That's as good as it gets right there, boys and girls. So we will put a handle on that, and I'll show you what that looks like here in just a minute. Except that I'm not going to show you because you have to wait till the regular video comes out. But yeah, that was using that new machine that Vivor sent me. It's that sheet metal brake. And if you've never used one of those, and well, I think you'll find the video interesting because I do show how you actually make something like that and what that brake is for. I had not used a sheet metal brake like that since I was at either junior high or high school, and I kind of think it was junior high when I did that. But I had made a real nice toolbox that I kept for years and years and years, and something happened to it. I think a tractor ran over it or something and ruined it and threw it away finally. But it was a good toolbox. So I might make me another one of these days. You just never know. But anyway, that was made out of stainless steel, like the barbecue grill itself is stainless steel, you know. And the drip pan that was in there before wasn't stainless steel, which was really stupid if you think about it. The thing that should be stainless steel is the thing that's going to corrode the most. Well, that's the thing that's going to corrode the most. And of course, they made it out of some other kind of steel that just rusted away. And of course, that's probably on purpose so that you have to buy that part from them. I don't know. But anyway, I just found some stainless steel sheet metal there in the shop that I had just saved and folded it up and made that. And I did put a handle on it, and it does work really well. And that one there will probably never corrode because that is stainless steel. Even though it looked a little cruddy there, it's been laying around getting stains on stainless steel. It was stained up, but it's still a stainless steel that won't corrode. So anyway, I also have a short video here on the wall status. I didn't really work on the wall yesterday, but I don't know if you'll see in the video here that I did pile up a bunch more rocks. Maybe you'll see those if you look close, that I did get some rock ready. So hopefully today I can add another layer on there, on that wall. So I thought we'd take a look at the water wheel project here after all that heavy rain and see where we're at. You can see it flowing down into the pond pretty heavily, and yeah, it's picked up a lot again. Yeah, that's a pretty heavy flow right there. That'll get that water wheel spinning. Looking pretty good. That flushes all the pollen off the top of the pond and pushes it out into the creek, I guess. Let's go around there and we'll take a look and see how much water is flowing out that pipe. I'll just leave the camera roll and we'll walk around there. I don't know how steady this camera is. It's supposed to be fairly steady. I don't know if you can hear all the birds. A lot of those are the martins. Here's what it looks like on the input. It's coming in pretty fast. There could be fish going out that too, That's a possibility. And it's pouring out pretty heavy. Pouring out just about as fast as it's coming in on that spring. You can see looks like it's going to be a bright sunny morning at least. We really did have a heck of a storm yesterday. Well, there's where we stand right now, so I need to get back out there and add another layer there. I've got 2 more layers to go before I think I'm done with that wall. And I didn't really show you the pile of rock there, but I did have enough rock, I think, to do the next course. I don't think there's enough to do 2 courses, but I'll at least have enough to do 1 course today. I think that's everything we've got. Let's go to the comments and see how we are there. Looks like Eddie Turner was number 1, John Pepper number 2, Rod Wintler there. And again, I don't know if we've lost anybody or not. There's Donald Matthews' comment that I saw earlier about itchy boots. Shake, rattling, and rolling. David Tharp says, good morning, Jerry, and all the Rosa Chadsters on the road to St. John Cochrane VA Hospital in St. Louis this morning, watching what I can on my phone, but my smartphone is retarded, I think. Well, David, I hope everything's okay. Let's see. Moving on down, Bill Rhodes says hello to everybody. And he brought up about the Mink Man. He asked me if I'd heard what happened to him, and I do watch the Mink Man. Joseph Carter is his name. He's a young guy that trains mink to catch rats and muskrats and things like that, varmints basically. And he also has dogs that catch them as well. And apparently, according to Bill Rhodes there, someone broke in and stole his mink. Now, that's terrible. That's just ridiculous. First of all, what would you do with them if you stole them? I mean, come on, give me a break. That's just malicious, mean, ignorant son of a you-know-what. I mean, I ought to just shoot him in the head. There's no, I just got no use for thieves and people like that. None at all. I got no sympathy in my heart for any of them either. Just put them to the knife. I've got no sympathy at all. Pitiful, just plain pitiful. Yeah, and Bill says he's just broken up about it, and I can believe it, because he puts a lot of work in on his training his animals. That guy is amazing with the way he trains his animals. He puts the time in. That's what it takes. You got to put the time in. It's not a 5-minute job when you're training animals, and that's what's wrong with Sadie. I haven't put the time in. It's my fault, really. It's not her fault. David Tharp, I couldn't figure out why the baseball kept getting bigger and bigger. Then it hit me. Yep. I like that one. I'm sure most everybody's seen that interview where that one baseball player was being interviewed by this lady. She's sticking a microphone in his face. And he hears this ball get hit or thrown or something, and he just looks out of the corner of his eye, and he just reaches up and grabs it just before it smacks that lady in the head. It was amazing how he did it. It was on the news. It's been replayed a lot of times, so you've probably seen that. But, man, it's one of those kind of deals. Hit you in the head. Bill Rhodes says, Jerry, did you get any of the bad storms? Yep, well, we sure did. And, yeah, that hail was pretty good size. People always saying things like golf ball, baseball, that kind of thing. It wasn't that big, but there were some chunks of it were pretty good size. Some chunks look like they'd be, bigger than your end of your thumb. So I don't know. Pretty good size. Enough to hurt you if it hit you. That's for sure. There's David Tharp again. Everybody tells me eat healthy, eat healthy. Well, I almost choked to death on a carrot. All I could think was, I bet a donut wouldn't have done that to me. Yeah, I do. I eat the 3 main food groups all the time. That's all I eat. Sugar, salt, and preservatives. You can't do no better than that. The preservatives keep you going. The sugar gives you energy, and that salt, you got to have it. If you don't have salt, you'll die. Like I said, there was a particular safari where people were dying all the time. I told this a couple of weeks ago, and this is a true story. It's not made up. And these scientists were trying to figure out why these people kept dying on this particular trail. And it had something to do with dehydrating and so hot, and and they would sweat to death, and everybody was drinking water like crazy. They were drinking bottled water. But the problem was they were sweating all the salt out of their system, and it was killing them. And it literally was killing them. And it almost killed one on the safari they went on to find out what was happening. So to me, sugar, salt, and preservatives, that's all you need. That's all a body needs right there. I don't know. You just have to make your own mind up on it. Wavy gravy. Jerry, my neighbor's wife left him for a tractor sale. I'm afraid to read this. Jerry, my neighbor's wife left him for a tractor salesman. He found out when she sent him a John Deere letter. That's funny. That's funny. You guys are nuts. David oh no, here we go again. I thought you were driving. It says, cigarettes are like squirrels. They are both kind of harmless until you put them in your mouth and set them on fire. Let's see. All right, moving on down. Wow, we haven't even made it to where we're live yet. I forgot. We've had so many here. I'm looking for question marks. I don't see them. It looks like Hugh O'Connor says, on a YouTube video popped up, and you was in it teaching a small class about the caged system on mandolin and guitar. I don't know what the cage system is. The hair was the same color, but more of it, and you had glasses. Yeah, that was quite a long time ago. I don't know. I don't think it wasn't 20 years ago. Well, it might have been close to 20 years ago, actually, now that I think about it. there was some music stores in the St. Louis area had hired me to do that seminar type deal, and anyway, that was the Nashville number system is what I was teaching there to them. I was also just showing them how to play the mandolin in general. The Free says, Jerry, what size t-shirt do you wear? Generally speaking, just an extra large. Carolyn Fike, after we went live, Walt Willard and Carolyn Fike says, yay, a premiere. Dottie Hildebrand, I like that song. Well, Dottie, I feel really sorry for you. It's, like I said, I've never done it before. I don't know if you could even hear the first part because I forgot to put the mic here because I was scrambling to get the thing to work because the IP address went away again because of the storm. And, it's just not easy being me. I think you guys are starting to see that it's not. It's really not easy to be me. Ronald Todd says, nice chirping. Well, thanks. CL Varvel, I don't, but I've been told maybe your best song ever. Well, I don't know. It's all right, I guess. I promise you, I've never played that for anybody. I'm sure Sue's never heard it. I'm sure no one has heard it except you guys. I'll have to throw it out to the band, see what they say. They'll probably hate it. They don't like my songs anyway. I'm just in their way, mostly, is really what it amounts to. Ronald Todd, the Rip Rap Rock worked for us on my road, so I'm sure it will work for you. Well, good. Thanks, Ronald. I'll give it a shot. You just never know. I think it will actually, too. It certainly can't be any worse than what we got. And I don't know. Okay, it scrolled on me. I've been looking for where I was at. And then there's Ronald Todd again. Says, Africa, in my opinion, looks like a good place to be from. Boy, that's a fact right now. Based on everything I've seen, I mean, there's some beautiful scenery and stuff. But wow, those roads, man, are just incredible. But it really just blew me away when I saw that great big highway green sign. You think, well, she must be on a main road or something. And then she takes off up this stupid trail. It's like, are you kidding me? Rubbish Guitar Bloke. Hello, Jerry. Sent you an email with a video link to watch scammers asking you to review products. Okay, I'll check that out. Thank you. I appreciate the warning. I'm pretty good at picking out scammers. I'll tell you a scam that was running hot back when I had my recording studio. I was getting emails all the time saying, we would like to book your studio for, 3 days in a row on such and so date. And they would sound really perfectly serious. And, and I don't know, they want me to reply with something. And I don't remember what it was. I didn't have to send any money or anything, but they, you could tell they were trying to hook you in. And and it's just the way they did it, and everything. I said, this really sounds like a scam to me. I'm assuming you're a scammer. Is that right? And I would just write it back to them like that. Just say it plain as day. And you'd never hear from those people again. And I've done that on a lot of other scams. I'm good at picking out scams. I can't say I've never been scammed. I don't think I have, but I'm pretty good at picking them out. And if I suspect at all that it's a scam, I just black and white say it to you. I said, look, I'm afraid this looks like a scam to me. Is this legit or what? And you won't hear from them again if you say that. So, and I figure, if they're scamming me, why do I care if I offend them, And if it's not a scam, then more than likely the person's not going to be offended anyway. And they're going to say, oh, no, let me explain to you. Here's what I was getting at, So you got nothing to lose. If I was you, if you think it might be a scam, just ask them, is this a scam? What are you going to lose? Carolyn Fike, I own a custom sheet metal shop in Cocoa, Florida. We have really big brakes I used to help operate them many years ago. Good work, Jerry. Well, cool. Yeah, I've been around them a time or two in my life, but only a time or two. And like I said, I used them in
I know I used him in junior high, and I kind of think maybe I used him in high school. I can't remember. But I always took all the technical classes I could take. I took I think the class was just called electricity. I took that. I took power mechanics. I told you about that one where I ended up teaching the class, and I literally really did. I'm not making that up. I actually had you were supposed to take the whole semester to rebuild a lawnmower engine. I had it done by the end of the first week. I was done completely. It started on the first pull. So from that point on, the teacher had me pretty much just running the class, really. I was pretty good with engines because I started working on them when I was like around the 4th grade. I really did, because my dad's lawn service. But anyway, that's why I said I've probably rebuilt more carburetors than just about anybody you know. And it's the truth. I'm not making these things up. It's just stuff that happened in my life. Dottie Hildebrand, nice job on your tray. Just need a handle. Yeah, I did already put the handle on there, and it worked perfectly. It's really, really nice. Anyway, that sheet metal brake, like I said, I won't use it very much. I mean, if I use it once a year, that's probably going to be a lot, honestly. But I do have a few things in mind. I think I might make some drawers for some under some of my tables in the shops and things. Metal drawers, I like them better, really, when you're in a shop like that. I like metal drawers better than wooden drawers, even though the wooden drawers are quieter, but they're just, once you make them out of metal, you pretty much are done. You don't have to deal with them anymore, generally speaking. Wavy Gravy, needed something sturdy to put my banjo in. My wife said, Uncle Bill has the perfect thing. I said, what's he got that a music store doesn't have? And she said, a drill press. Yep. Or you could go to my shop. I've got a 20-ton press. You put it in there. Gary Hayden, beautiful property you have, Jerry. Will the water wheel have a functional use? Not likely. It's mostly just going to be for looks. I already have a generator built that if it's got the power to turn it, I'm going to hook that up to it. But, I'm not even counting on that at all. But it might work. You just never know. It's mostly just for looks. Moving on down, Carolyn Fike again. One of the most important things the GIs were given in Vietnam was salt tablets, my husband said. Yes, well, that's true. I don't know. I'm no authority on any of this stuff, just so you know that, obviously. And I don't think anybody's really an authority on most of this health stuff. But there's so much hype and so much crap and so much placebo crap. There's just so much. It's hard to explain how much there's. Like all the hype that there was. You don't want to eat all that salt. That's bad for you. You don't want to eat all that sugar. It's bad for you. I'm a walking dead man. I'm telling you right now, I'm a walking dead man because it's pretty much all I eat. Did I miss it? What is the new toy? You did miss it. You know why you missed it? Because I didn't show you. Thank you. I don't think I've ever had this many screw-ups in one video. I'm an idiot. I'm a total idiot. Here it is. Magnetic helping hands. I'm not going to lie. I opened the box, but that's all I did. I did this, and this is as far as I've gotten. So let's look at it and see what we got here, because I truly don't even really know. I mean, I know I've seen the video on it and that kind of thing, but it's got a vise. Now, this is a heavy magnet here, and this will stick down to the plate. There's a heavy plate in here, or it's supposed to be. There's all these adjustable arms with magnets also. And the idea behind this is that you can set this up any way you want to set it up. Whoops. About dropped the whole thing there. But here's the heavy steel plate, and it is pretty heavy. I mean, you can set this on your bench or whatever, and then you can stick these things all around in different places. Here's the lighted magnifier, so it's got a light ring in it, and of course the plastic's on there, so I don't know how well this will stick, but you can see it sticks pretty good even through the plastic. So anyway, it's a third-hand type deal, or if you go by what it says on the box, it's a magnetic helping hands, plural, which I guess that's probably correct since there's a whole bunch of magnet holding devices there. What I was planning to do, now that we're at the end of the video, it's a little late, but I was going to ask you to put in the comments, what would you use that for? I mean, they offered to send it to me, and I said, that does look helpful. I like the design of it because you can move stuff around so easy with it, and it's got a light, and it's just a better one than the other ones I've got. I've got a couple other small ones that kind of rinky-dink, but honestly, I don't have that big of a use for it. So I was just curious what all you guys might use it for. So if you got a comment on that, throw it in the comments. Let's go back to the comments and see if there's any more here. Oh, yeah. Simon asked, did you serve in Vietnam? No, I didn't. But I still have a Vietnam story for you, though. I think I told this once before. I had a fellow working for me. I'm not going to mention his name because he could possibly see this video. And I liked the guy. He was a good guy. As a matter of fact, he's been here to my farm a couple times. But keep in mind, this was a long time ago. This was back in the late 70s when he worked for me at Bell. I was his supervisor. He was a service rep. And back then, the thing about service reps, and I was a service rep before I was a supervisor, the thing about service reps is that you had to be super syrupy sweet on the phone. I mean, like unbelievably sweet. I'm going to tell you a story here, and I promise you're going to think I'm making this up. I already know you're going to think I'm making this up. So why would I tell you a story when I already know you're going to think I'm making it up? Believe what you want. So I'm on the phone. And this, and you're I'm a service rep at this time. I'm getting sidetracked on my sidetrack here. So I'm talking to this customer on the phone, and you have to, what they call tuned in. You have to be tuned in with your customer. So I'm listening to every word she says, And so she's expressing all these problems she's had, and I'm telling her I'm sorry, because you have to say, every time they say a problem, you have to say, well, I'm sorry. You have to say at least that. You can say something else like, oh, that's terrible. I wish that wouldn't have happened, or that kind of, you can say, but you got to chime in with them, and there's people listening to your phone call, and they come running out of the back room and run right up in your face. And while you're talking to the customer, and this is the situation. So I'm talking to this lady, and she's, and these are like some of these are collection calls, and I don't remember what this was. I can't remember if it was collection or if this was an order. I don't remember. But anyway, she says all these things, and every one of them, I'm chiming in with her, And here comes my supervisor, and it just so happened my supervisor was. She was like the bull moose compared to all the other supervisors. Mine was the rough one. Now, she was also really nice and really funny, but she was also the rough one. And everybody knew it. She was like the drill sergeant. So here she comes out. She's like this in my face. She's just as mad as she can be. She's going like this. She's just in my face. And I'm talking to this lady, and I'm trying to go, what's wrong? Take a break, time out, like this. And so I said, well, if you excuse me for just a moment, let me just check into this. So I get off the phone, and so the phone's on mute, and she's screaming at me. She's going, you forgot to say you're sorry. You better get on there and say you're sorry right now. I told her I was sorry that she wrecked her car and that she broke her arm and, whatever, all the things that she said. I said, she goes, you didn't say you're sorry. And I said, about what? You say, you didn't say you're sorry that the cat peed on the rug. I was speechless. That had occurred in the conversation like a minute before that. Now I'm supposed to go back on there and tell her I'm sorry. I'm not making this up. I swear to God that happened. I swear to you on a stack of Bibles that happened. And I'm going, okay, all right, fine. I go back on there, and of course I have to say that. So that's the kind of manners you're supposed to have with these people. You're supposed to, everything's, and they listen to you downtown also. That's not only in the back room, but there's these observers downtown, and then they give you a score at the end of the month on how you did with your customer relations. And that would have been what you call a scoring had I not said that, according to her at least. Well, anyway, so now let's go back to the Vietnam story. So I had this guy working for me. Now he's doing what I was doing. He's talking to the customers. Now this guy was as rough as a cob, man. I'm serious. And he would say stuff like, "Listen, lady." He couldn't get down to their level and be like that. So anyway, he was just really rough guy, and you could tell he was a bad guy when he was in Vietnam. And you could just know. I mean, you didn't even have to ask. You just knew he was. So one day, I'm talking to him, and he and I were kind of friends, but yet, I had to supervise him in these pretty touchy situations, Well, we were talking one day, and he put his hand out like this or something, and I saw all these cut marks across his hand, and I mean, there were a bunch of them. Like, I'm talking 8 or 9, 10 cuts across his hand, And then he says, well, that's nothing. He holds up this one. It's got the same thing. Great big cut marks across his hand. I'm going, oh my God, what happened? And he says, I probably should have told you the other story first before I tell you this. But anyway, you already know what kind of guy this guy is. He's a rough son of a gun. He says, I said, I guess that happened in Nam, hon. Because he'd already shown me these other scars. I'll have to tell you about that too. But anyway, he says, no, he said, that didn't happen from Nam. He said, that was when I was back home. I said, really? How did that happen at home? He says, oh, I made my brother mad. It must be a rough family. And I said, you made your brother mad and he cut you like that? He's going, no, well, he grabbed my bayonet and he was trying to stab me. And then he pulls down his shirt and he's got a stab mark right here, too. So he's holding this bayonet like this. His brother's trying to stab him in the throat. And I said, well, what the heck did you do to make him that mad? He goes, I changed the channel on the television. I swear to you. So that's how rough this guy is and his family is. All right, so now he said, we were talking about Vietnam or something, and I asked him, I said, I don't remember how we got on it, but I said, did you ever get shot? He goes, oh yeah. And he pulls up his shirt. He's got a bullet hole right in the middle like this, and he's got one that goes through his arm, through his shoulder, through his cheek, or something like that. I mean, like he was shot 3 times with one bullet. I don't know how it happened now exactly, but anyway, it was 3 times with one bullet. So he had these scars, and then when he showed me the one in the dead center of his stomach, I said, my gosh, if you got shot in the middle of the stomach, how did you survive that? He goes, well, I can see you. And I mean, he talks like this. Well, I can see you ain't never been shot. I go, well, no. He said, it makes you pretty blankety blank mad. And I go, wow. I said, well, you can get mad all you want, but if you're shot in the middle of the stomach, what kept the other guy from finishing you off? He goes, well, let me just say it this way. He's deceased. And I'm going, really? He's going, yeah. Just like that. I'm going, oh my gosh. I didn't want to ask anymore. So and I'm not making this up. I promise you this is true. The next day, he brings in a picture. And let me explain to you. The guy was deceased. That's all I'll tell you. You didn't have to look at the picture twice to know he was deceased. Yeah, that's the kind of guy I was dealing with there. Whew, crazy. Vietnam. So no, I never served, but I sort of did. Moving on down. Mr. Blamerton, I'm curious to know if you have ever made banjos or a banjo at least. I found one online and the seller didn't know the history of it, but there was a rose in the headstock. No, I haven't done anything like that. I did make one banjo. I have it hanging on the wall in another part of the house. I did make one banjo, and it's a decent banjo. It's nothing. It's not a Gibson quality banjo, but it's a decent banjo. I made it out of spare parts. I was in the shop one afternoon, and I thought, you know what? All these banjo parts were laying around. I said, dang, I think I got enough banjo parts here to put together a whole banjo. So I did. And I didn't really physically make any of it. I just put it together. It was just all from spare parts. But it's a halfway decent banjo. Preston Johnson, in high school shop class, we learned to use a sheet metal brake. The old man teaching us built a fiddle completely from sheet metal. Hatcher-Tynes sheet metal, Monroe, Louisiana. I'll be darned. I bet that had a tinny sound. No pun intended. Jerry, I'm a model builder. I could use that all the time. So for like models and things. Yeah, I'm trying to think of anything that I practically do that I would really use this for, because I need to make a video about it, and I want to do something that's practical. I don't want to just make a video to make a video. I'm trying to think of something that would make sense, you know. I mean, soldering wires is, and that's probably the next comment here. Jeff Pierce, would I use it for holding small parts for welding or soldering? Yep. That's kind of the only thing I can think of at the moment is soldering, really. Looks like it would be helpful tying flies. Yeah, I thought of that. I did actually think of that. I've already got a fly tying kit on a shelf in there that I was helping my grandson with. And I thought, well, for sure, it might be the best platform and the overall thing to convert what we already have for fly tying to this thing. Because the thing we have already is a little bit on the chinsy side. Actually, it's halfway decent. It's better than what I had when I was a kid. But it's still not as solid as this, I think this is. Ronald Todd, looks like it would be helpful. Oh, sorry, that's what I just read. Chuck Heidbreder, good for soldering, silver soldering, TIG welding, small parts. Yeah, the TIG welding might be. I'm not any good at TIG welding, unfortunately, but I need to learn that better. Gary Hayes, WV Hillbilly, West Virginia Hillbilly. Jerry, make some demos of your songs and take or send them to Nashville from where I stand. Grandpa's Old Fiddle are great songs and others. Well, thank you, Gary. Like I said, I've never, well, I shouldn't say never. I've sent songs to a couple of people. I've sent one or two songs to Doyle Lawson. I sent one song to Allison Krauss, and I didn't really know Doyle very well. I just knew, I taught his banjo player, Joe Dean, how to play bluegrass, and so I had that little bit of an in there, but he never did the song. That was Vine Covered Church that I sent to him. The Witcher brothers cut that song, by the way, the Vine Covered Church. But anyway, so Doyle never did that. And then I sent the one to Allison, but I don't know if she ever even saw it. I don't know if it ever got to her anyway. And the one I sent to her was, I wished I'd loved you more back then. But anyway, we'll see. I just don't really have any desire to do that. I mean, I don't care if I don't care if I'm get famous, rich, or anything like that. It just doesn't appeal to me. I like YouTube. Anyway, Gotta Fly Lee. I can think of a lot of things to use that for, working on underside of a car, tractor to hold lights, tools, etc. Hey, that's an idea. Hadn't thought of it like that. That's an idea. Dottie Hildebrandt, great item for soldering many parts. Yeah, the soldering's about the only thing I could think of, honestly. Nothing ruins a nice conversation like a sudden blast of cat pee. Yeah, I'm not making that up. That's the truth. And later, years later, when they relaxed the standards, and they finally did, I stood up in the middle of the whole office, with, I don't know, there was not 200 people, but probably 150 people there and I was given a presentation about the new standards and things. And then I actually gave them that example. I said, this really did happen to me, and I really did have to say that. And, pitiful, just plain pitiful. But now as everybody knows, customer service standards have gone from the highest level to absolutely the lowest level. It's not like there was any happy medium. And it's pitiful now. The customer service just sucks. Anybody you call anymore, it's rare when you get good customer service on the phone anymore. At least it has been for me. Ben Boyd, on the Campy story, I have told your supervisor, I'm sorry, I can't work here anymore. Yeah, well, it was tempting. Trust me, it was really tempting. I told the story not too long ago because I was working for the same supervisor. I told you the story where my dad woke me up and started beating me, and I went down and grabbed that guy by the throat and held him up in the air. I was working for that same supervisor at that time when that happened. And I actually quit. I said, I'm not coming back to work. See ya. And man, she begged me. She called, and she came and met me at my home and all kinds of things. In a way, I owe her a lot. She was like I told you, she was a good gal, really. I did like her actually, but she was also a drill sergeant. But she actually did save my job for me later because I did quit. You talking about mad. Anyway, Jeff Puris, tell us banjo joke like, what's the difference between a banjo player and a large pizza? Yeah, that's one of the few I know. In case, I'm sure some of you haven't heard that, but that's one of them I tell on stage. I say, you know what the difference is between a banjo player and an extra large pizza, right? And they look at you like, huh? I said, well, extra large pizza can feed a family of 4. But another one that there's a zillion of them, and I forgot 90% of them, but there's a zillion of them. One of them is, what do you get when you drop a banjo down a mine shaft, A flat minor? That's a music joke. The other one is your definition of perfect pitch. And that's where you stand back 10 paces from a dumpster and you swing the banjo by the arm. And if you get it in the dumpster without hitting the sides, that's a perfect pitch. I don't know. There's a zillion of them. How do you tell if a stage is level? You look at the banjo player, and if he's drooling out of one corner of his mouth, the stage is not level. Should be out of both sides. I don't know. There's a million of them. There's absolutely a million of them. I forgot most of them, truthfully. There's one about trying to think of how it goes now, about stealing the banjo or something. Something about getting the banjo stole out of a car and you came back and there was 5 banjos in the car. Something. I don't remember how that one went. I'm sure somebody knows that one. Preston Johnson. Hi, you are right on the sound. Very tinny and screechy, definitely. Yeah. Yeah, it's you can't make a metal instrument and make it sound good, I don't think. Well, that's not 100% true. I've actually heard have you ever heard of a aluminum bass? There's the guy in Sullivan, Missouri. I can't think of his name right now. I know his name. A very, very, very good bass player. He had an aluminum bass that he played at a lot of times. He'd bring it to a lot of the festivals where you're out in the weather, and he could leave his aluminum bass sit out there in the rain. It wouldn't matter, But it actually sounded pretty decent, really. But that's the only metal instrument I've ever heard that would sound decent. And it was a bass. And that's mainly because it's such a low instrument. If you did that with anything else, it's not going to work. Let's see. Jeff Purist is crying there, laughing and crying. Wavy Gravy, what's the relative minor in bluegrass music? That would be the banjo player's girlfriend. She's a relative and a minor. I think I've heard a version of that somewhere, but I haven't heard that in a long time. Daddy Hellbreath says, "Come on, Jeff, play at a banjo." Oh, I play at a banjo. And then he's rebutting back to her, says, all in good, clean fun. I have been a banjo for a niece who wanted to learn banjo. I bought a banjo. Yeah, well, guys, I'm going to let that be it. I think my wife, Sue, is on her way down to Springfield, Missouri to help granddaughter Kaylee, struggling for names again, you know me. She went down to pick up granddaughter Kaylee, or actually just pick up her things from her dorm, and I think granddaughter Kaylee is coming home for the summer. So anyway, that's the name of that tune. There was one more question mark popped up here. The Freeze says they used to make a metal dobro. Oh, yeah, that's right. You're right. Yeah, that wasn't too bad sounding. You're right. But again, the dobro, the idea behind the dobro is to sound kind of that metal sound. That's what the resonator and the cone is aluminum and all that. So you could get away with it on a dobro too. You are 100% right. But now that I say that, can I think of any other instrument where there'd be an exception? But honestly, there's not many exceptions. You're not going to make a metal guitar, I mean a regular guitar with 6 strings, regular playing type guitar that's going to sound any good with metal. A fiddle is not going to work. A mandolin's not going to work. But, a big bass like that or a dobro, which is already got that metallic sound going on, it would be fine. But anyway, that's it, guys. Sorry I made so many screw-ups today. I'll try to do better tomorrow. We'll see you tomorrow with something else.